Starting a new world in Minecraft is fun. It's because you go through those steps of the first tree that you punch, the first iron you find, the first house that you build, the first night that you survive. Those might not all be in the right order there, but then it works all the way up to the first diamonds you find, the first ender dragon you kill, and then you go through and finishing all of the advancements. And then you kind of get just left with this point of, what do I do to keep having fun? How do I keep moving forward and find new goals to accomplish? Because all the easy things, let's be honest, building your base in Minecraft is fun and all, and it's easy to do, and that's why we always all start new worlds. But how do we keep having fun beyond that? How do we keep having fun and keep playing the game? Hey folks, fWhip here, and welcome on back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about how to have fun in Minecraft, and how to keep having fun and making a game that is very approachable and something that is easy to kind of move on, and how to find your own sources of inspiration. A lot of people ask me that constantly, is how do I keep playing the game? I play this game all day long, pretty much every single day. How do I keep playing? How do I keep building? And just keep doing stuff outside of here. So folks, today we're going to be talking about that stuff. My first one on this here, folks, is finding a way to make it personal. Find what you really, really love about the game, what you really love to create, what you do. It can be inspired by things in your life. Just find what you really love and the idea of the project that you're working on. That what you have to really love the idea behind that. If you follow trends of Minecraft building and building things and just kind of look at the Reddit and say, hey, look, people are building floating enchanting tables this week, or people are building giant skeleton structures this week, they can be like, oh, I'm gonna build that, that'll be cool. And then after you finish that, you're just like, it didn't really mean anything to me, and your world becomes like this hodgepodge of just everything going on from it. What I would say on that is, you can follow those all you want, but take inspiration from them and find ways of building that into your own stuff that you're doing. Taking the inspiration from over here, but making it personal, making it your own, and doing your own thing with it so that you have your own unique result in the end, instead of, wow, I saw this guy did these things in step A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, and E, and I copied this dude's thing over to my world, and that was cool and all, but then it's like, well, I guess now what do? I have to keep copying his stuff to make it make sense. Another way to make it personal here is to find inspiration outside of Minecraft, things that influence us, our memories, maybe an art style that you love. For me, it's all about creating things that I love. If for you all, a way approachable it would be, maybe you have your best friend, maybe you rebuild their house inside of Minecraft, because as you building their house, you're thinking about the memories of hanging out with your best friend. You're thinking about the memories of doing all that stuff. Maybe if you're like most of the internet folks, and we all say we don't have friends, then you can be, maybe it's something that you have a memory of a vacation as a kid, or somewhere where you always went. For me, myself, is that inside of my Minecraft world, I'm building this crazy mountain range. And people are always like, fWhip, why the heck are you building mountains inside of Minecraft? It's like, that's just dumb. Why would you do that? And for me, it's a huge memory. I'm modeling them after the Cascade Mountains, which I grew up going hiking in, exploring, and just around in my entire life. They're a huge part of my life living in the Seattle area, is as if it's a clear day. I can see the mountains pretty much anywhere you look. You can see mountains on all sides of you up here, and it's amazing. And so I want to bring that sense, that just those memories of that place into my Minecraft world, and it makes it personal for me, and it makes me want to keep working on it, because as I'm building those, I'm like, ooh, I did this hike up there, and there's this really cool rock structure. Maybe I could build that thing inside of here. The next step would be find what you yourself enjoy to do inside of the game. That can come down to build styles. That can come down to whatever you want. In Minecraft, there are hundreds of blocks that we can use, and there are thousands upon thousands of ways that you can combine them together and make them work together, different styles you can go for, and all these crazy things. For me, I like my medieval builds, I like my fantasy builds, and I like my landscaping projects inside of Minecraft. Those are the things that I'm comfortable with. Those are the things that I enjoy building. That's kind of where I hold together, and that's what I focus around a lot on my channel. People are always leaving comments asking me to do a modern build, asking me to do a futuristic build. I have succumbed to those comments a few times, been like, okay, yeah, we'll do that. We'll give it a shot. We'll see where this one goes here. And for the people who have watched those projects, you can kind of tell along the way, I'm just not super committed into them, and I usually don't finish them all the way throughout. But then I come back and work on something that I love, and I just go all out crazy on that thing. I can still come up with something that looks nice inside of the cyberpunk build that we did a while ago, for example. I've done a few modern ones in the past. They look nice, they look cool, they look great, but it's just not something that I'm full-heartedly committed into, so I feel like the final product of it doesn't have that nice finishing touch that I look for. For me, I've also found that like I can produce an interior space inside of Minecraft, as we recently spent many, many hours building interiors inside of the mansion. But it's a big challenge for me. It's a big challenge because I like to build the exterior houses. I like to build the castles. I like to build the bigger things instead of the small 3x5 room needs its little thing going on in it. That's not really what I tend to look for. So I've tried to take on this approach recently of going for what I'm calling an RPG design approach, where if you look at the games like World of Warcraft, not every building inside of those cities that you go to explore is accessible by the player, unless it means something specific to go in there. Maybe it's a merchant, maybe it's a quest giver, or maybe it's inside of Minecraft, it's just a point of interest, like the mansion that we did. That's a big structure, so it probably needs an interior to it. I know I still owe a few other ones on the wizard castle and everything like that. I don't know where to do them. That's just where I'm at with it. But anyways, I've taken this approach recently instead of just doing none of them, as you all can tell. So for me, as I was saying, I like to build the exterior shapes. I like to do all that stuff, but a way that I can still kind of keep enjoying what I do and still have that finishing touch on the world is I find those pointed areas where it makes sense to go that extra mile above and beyond and push myself a little bit to do the interior space instead of just being like, the outside looks nice, I'll just leave it as is, let's move on to the other one, throw some glowstone behind the window so it gets a cool glow to it, and we are out of here. We are moving on. Let's go. The next thing I would have to say is don't make something that you think others would enjoy. Or what you think they expect from you. This can lead to major burnout. Make something that you want to make for yourself, or you want to make for yourself and share with others. Don't fall under the comments or the whatever it might be, the feedback again, like we're talking about those trends, is you don't have to follow those. You can build whatever you want, take inspiration from them. But as a creator, as many YouTubers out there can follow, small channels, large channels, whatever it is, there's always going to be somebody down there saying, hey fWhip, can you make this? I want to make it inside my own world. I want to see how you're going to make it. Or what about if you did this instead? Like, I think it's cool that you're building this right now, but let's scrap that whole idea and do this. And those comments, they can be helpful. You can read into them and be like, you know, that's kind of a wacky way of doing something, or that'd be kind of a cool thing. Like, oh, like a blacksmith? Yeah, that's cool. Maybe we had like a little forge area attached to this thing that I'm doing. Instead of a full-on blacksmith, I can incorporate a little bit of into what I'm doing, but I'm not doing all of it. I love to read the comments, and I use that as like the, maybe I'm doing this thing right now, but how can I incorporate that general concept or idea? Sometimes they're a little too crazy. I appreciate them all, but they do give a little bit of inspiration here and there, but I'm always choosing my own thing to do. I'm not sitting around like reading comments being like, this person over here wants me to build a giant submarine. Let's do that right outside my medieval port city. That would make sense. Let's go right ahead with that one. But you can't please everybody. It's impossible. It's impossible to please absolutely everybody. You should focus on what makes you happy with your own project that you're doing. The internet is full of haters who simply want to say you suck or this is terrible, simply due to the fact that they like what you made so much and they can't do it themselves. There is always going to be somebody out there leaving comments or whatever it is. Oh my gosh, you copied blah, blah, blah. Or, oh my gosh, you did this. Or this thing is terrible. Usually, if you're happy with yourself, that's obviously, that's the only thing that matters there. If you're happy with it yourself, that's where you're good at. That's everything you need. But usually those people are only leaving comments to try and knock you off that pedestal that you put yourself on of, I'm proud of this, I want to share it with the world. I want to share it with everybody. And then they're just jealous that you made it and they couldn't make it themselves, or they didn't make it themselves first. And so they are just reaching out, lashing out. So you can kind of take that as like, haha, I did this right. You're actually the one who sucks, not me. I'm great. But anyways, that's enough ideas of how to like focus on like keeping that inspiration and moving forward. And now how do we translate that to actually building in this game that we call Minecraft? How do we move it into that stuff? Well, folks, what I say is focus on the story. Now, I'm not saying you need to tell the entire story of Shrek inside of your Minecraft world, for example. You could if you want to. If somebody does that, please let me know. I would love to see that whole world. That would be fantastic. But we all run dry on build ideas. We all don't know what to add next. We don't know where we can go with the next thing. And that's where a story can come in clutch and completely save the day. Because say you built a little farmhouse out in the middle of nowhere. You're in a medieval world, because that's what I build. I can use this as a concept here. And we build a farmhouse out in the middle of nowhere. And we're like, well, when winter gets here, they're going to be cold. So we add a fireplace into the little cottage that we have, and that's where they do all their stuff. And it's like, well, where do they store firewood? Okay, let's make a little lean-to out the side of the house and pile up some logs inside of it, and that's where they're going to store their firewood for the winter. And then off of that, it's like, well, they're farmers out here. They live on a farm and their little cottage and everything like that. And how do they make money? They obviously have to take their produce that they grow, the wheat that they have, the carrots they're growing, the potatoes, whatever you want to plant out there, the Minecraft crops that we have, and they need some way to get that into a market, to back into town so they can sell it to people. If they're not just living off the land themselves, but let's say in this story they want to get to the market and sell it. What do they need to transport all their produce over there? Well, they need a wagon, they need a cart, and then probably the person's not going to pull that all the way themselves into the market, so then they need a horse, and you need a little stables area for the horse to hang out in, and you can see how that just grows forever and ever into these new ideas of new stuff that you can keep building in the area and extending your ideas by just telling a simple story like that. You don't have to go crazy in depth and tell the Odyssey or whatever you want to do. Literally just find a way to describe their day-to-day life. What would they do along the way? And then build that. How can you build something that would make it there? Maybe they have a little lake nearby, a little pond that they like to fish in, and maybe you can build a tree right next to there with a bench below it, because one of the farmers likes, or their kids like to go down there and fish. So they like to sit on the bench in the shade under the tree while they fish. You can do that. And the last one I would say here, this is the big one, is don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to fail at what's going on here. Don't just place down 5 blocks and say, ooh, I hate it, this sucks, like this is awful. Keep trying, keep placing things down. See if you can work with it a little bit to extend the idea of what you're working on and see where you can take it. You might not always get the finished product here. As I've shown in a few videos recently, this one on my second channel was where I talked through the design process of creating the entire mansion that I did. You can see that I remove and add and take away things inside of this build as it's going. There's a lot of stuff happening all over the place with this project, and just things work, things don't. I remove them, I tweak them, I change them, and I add them back and forth, or whichever way it might go. But don't be afraid to keep trying, keep messing around with new things. Try things out of the norm that you're not comfortable with, and you might find something really cool in the end, or you at least learn something in the process of, maybe I don't do this in the future, and that'll save me time down the road of, okay, this decision didn't work back then, so let's not try it here. Or how can I rehash this decision to have it make sense for what's going on right now? And I think that's a really good way to talk about this thing, really good way to go with all this stuff, is you can find some cool ways to kind of incorporate new ideas. I've been doing it a lot recently of just trying new stuff and seeing what works. And I've been able to come up with a lot of really, really cool, unique things that I otherwise probably wouldn't have created if I wasn't like, I want to use this block. How can I make it work? What can I do to force this thing to work? How can I get it in here? I know as a YouTuber, being the one who edits the videos and shows you all the final product of everything going on, is I have the ability to control what I show you all. So you only see the bright side of the rainbow, the greener pasture of all of it usually. I don't show the entire design process of all the different times that I fail making something, because I want to show you all this cool, amazing thing that I built, and I don't want the videos to be an hour long. So when you're looking at YouTube videos, you have to remember that it's like all of us creators who are over here, which is probably where you get a lot of your influence from for the building. You're like, these people are all so good. How do I get to be at that level? Well, we all fail a lot until we get the final product that we actually show to everybody. So that's something I think is very, very important to take into account for this one, especially if you're trying to find ways to keep having fun, is focusing on your own journey of becoming a better builder instead of looking at the people in the distance, the people of where you want to be. It's cool to be like, hey, I want to get to the level of those guys. They're really cool, but how do I move from where I am to the next step? It's not here to there. It's every single step along the way, and eventually you get there. But anyways, folks, that's going to have to do it for today's video. I hope this one was helpful for you all. If it was, please be sure to click that like button down below. Any other questions you have about Minecraft, stuff like this, I'll be sure to be reading the comments down there, helping you all out where I can on this one, and answering more questions as I can. I've been really enjoying reading the comments and replying back to you all recently, so thanks everybody who's been jumping down there. But folks, if you are brand new, please be sure to click that subscribe button down below, and my friends, I will catch you on the flip side.